to a new video. I haven't done a comic book reading vlog in a while, so since I just finished this comic, I thought I would start this as a separate reading vlog and show you all the comics I am reading. So since I just finished Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, which I'll talk about in a second, I thought I would make this a reading vlog as I sort of dive into the backlist of Spider-Gwen. There's quite a few characters that I'm interested in learning more about right now. In the past, you might have seen that I have done a lot of Scarlet Witches and Visions comics. I've read a lot of those. I've read almost every single Miles Morales comic book. He did have a small cameo in this one. There's some of the newer ones of his I haven't read, and then there are some like where he appears in other comics that aren't like his title comics that I haven't read, but I'll get there. So I am going to be diving into Spider-Gwen and seeing more about her backstory. I don't know a lot, if anything, and this one is not an origin, it's diving right in. So I'm gonna try and figure out which one is the origin story of her like getting bit by the spider and everything. This is a different universe than like the main Marvel universe. If you've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, you will understand what I'm saying, or if you've seen the new Spider-Man for that matter. So we have like our main MCU universe, and it has a number attached to it. I don't know what it is. And then shooting off that, we have the Miles Spider-Man universe, and that crosses over a little bit with our Peter Parker. And then there's a bunch of universes. There's the one with the pig Spider-Man, what do they call him? Spider-Ham. The noir Spider-Man. There's in this one there was a British Spider-Man who I'd never seen before. There's Spider-Gwen. In our MC universe, it's kind of like looking at Tobey Maguire's versus Andrew Garfield's versus Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Those are like the three different universes we have thus far. Plus, if you want to look at it that way, then we also have the X-Men universe, and then we have the Venom universe, and then we have Morbius wherever he's going to fit in. I think he's in the Venom universe, but that's not applicable to what we're talking about. Anyway, I'm gonna start reading Spider-Gwen, and I wanted to just make this a themed reading vlog, and then next, after Spider-Gwen, I think I'm going to start diving into the history of Daredevil, because I've been watching the show, and well, I finished the show and I love it more than anything in the world, but let's stick to Spider-Gwen for now. So this one I read tonight. Like I said, because this is diving into sort of the middle of the story, it was a little bit weird, and then it does skip the big thing that happens, because Spider-Geddon is like I just looked on my Marvel Unlimited app, it's like a whole, there's so many issues of a bunch of different Spider-Man lines telling that story, and maybe I'll read that in this reading vlog, depending on my patience, because there was a lot. And I do more kind of want to focus on the backstory of who Spider-Gwen is. I want to know how she became Spider-Gwen. But this one, I really liked the writing. It's Seanan McGuire, who is an author, and you could really tell in sort of the lyrical way of the writing almost, so I really enjoyed it. And there's this part at the end that I posted on my Instagram story because I just thought it was so good. There's an issue in here where she has to go and she, I guess, is now the only one at the end of Spider-Geddon, is the only one that can travel between universes at this point. No one else can anymore, and she is having to go tell different universes Spider-Mans that they died in this battle, and it sucks for her, and that's I think why it's called Ghost Spider. But her last quote at the end of this issue, she says, "If we have to be haunted, we should befriend our ghosts. We should welcome them in and let them make a home with us. Just because we're ghost stories, that doesn't mean we're over. Legends never die." Like, how good is that writing? I loved it. So I'm excited to kind of take a step back from this and see where she started. This starts later in the story. She's just getting out of jail in the first one, or juvie. I don't know how old she is. I think she's still in high school, for doing something Spider-Man related, I presume. And then she ends up in a different universe with a Gwen Stacy who is the Green Goblin, and Harry Osborn was that universe's Spider-Man, and he died. Green Goblin, Gwen Stacy, had lost her mind, just like we see the Green Goblin do many a times in our Marvel movies. And then Peter Parker and Mary Jane were best friends who were trying to help their Gwen Stacy regain her Gwen Stacy personality and like memories. So that was the majority of the story, and she was trying to get back to her universe to help in Spider-Geddon or whatever it's called. So I really enjoyed it. Great writing, really pretty art. I prefer my comic books in this like bind up form because the pages I find much easier to read. But if I'm being honest, reading comics on my phone is probably, or like on my iPad, digitally is probably my favorite way to go. So that's what I'm gonna go do now. I will update you the next time I have finished some more of Spider-Gwen's story. So I lost my train of thought there, but I am really excited to be doing another comic book reading vlog. I don't know if anyone even cares about them, but they are some of my favorite like content to create, and I have just loved falling in love with comic books in the last like 6 months or a year or whatever it's been. And I did buy Marvel Unlimited. I caved. I spent like, I think it was $70 to buy the year out. So I saved some money doing that upfront rather than monthly. And I'm gonna make that money worth it. Honestly, it's worth it. Like this, I think retail price for something like this, there's a sticker over it, so I can't really see. Oh, $15.99. So like that's already, for this, I get it, it's ink printing, but I'd rather just pay the Marvel Unlimited and have, it's unlimited. It doesn't have every single comic Marvel has ever made. Like I just looked, I wanted to read this one, Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, which I don't, if it's in the Miles Morales omnibus, I might have already read it, but I don't think I have. I don't know. But it doesn't, from what I can find, it doesn't have that like special edition one, but my library has it. So I will probably read that in this reading book too. So I hope that you're excited. Let's get into it. I'm gonna go read some comic books.
Hello, an update for my Gwen Stacy comic book reading vlog. It's weeks later. I think last time I updated, I had only read the physical comic book that I had. I've read a couple more in the last few days, honestly. I didn't read some comic books for a couple weeks, so I will go through them with you. So I guess I only read 2. I'm being a little dramatic, but it's 5 issues each, I believe. So I read Amazing Spider-Man: Edge of Spider-Verse, which I thought would be about Gwen Stacy. One of the issues was, and I can't remember the name of it, but one of them was about Gwen Stacy, and I did enjoy that one. The other 4, at no point did I understand what was going on in this bind-up, and I don't think I liked any of it. I don't remember issue number 1 super well. Then issue number 2 was Gwen Stacy, and then the other ones, there was a version of Spider-Man in another universe. So this was hopping across universes looking at different Spider people, because it's before the whole Spider-Verse team up. And there was, I don't even have words. So it was a version of Spider-Man that was not Peter Parker. I can't remember the name, it's not important. But he is already a creeper because he has like binoculars and is like peeking into not Mary Jane but Sarah Jane's room because they're still next door neighbors, and like taking like scientific notes, like he's observing animals in a zoo. Like it's really creepy. And then she ropes him into trying to save some animals out of the animal testing lab in Oscorp or whatever the equivalent was in this comic, and he gets bit by a spider, and that's how he becomes this universe's Spider-Man. But this universe's Spider-Man resembles more like a vampire type of creature. Like it kind of looked like Morbius, and I think maybe this comic does cross over with Morbius at some point because there was a villain. I looked it up. It was a villain from the Morbius comics. I haven't read any, but I did watch the movie. I did enjoy the movie. But anyway, so he's like a vampire thing. He was not a hero Spider-Man. He was a villain Spider-Man, which would have been one thing if I knew that was if that's what I was getting into, but I didn't. And then he ate a lot of people. He ate his uncle, who is like the Uncle Ben equivalent, but that wasn't his name. That guy was abusive. I'm not sure that's quite an excuse to literally eat him, but he did. He ate this random kid on the road. He ate the bully at school. And just like not the animation, but like the drawings of like Spider-Man vampire creature were just terrifying. And I don't even know what that was, but I didn't like it. And then there was the Spider-Man Noir, if that's how you say that, who is in the Spider-Verse movie. That one I didn't hate, but I didn't really care about it. And all I could hear was Nicolas Cage's voice during the whole thing I was reading it, because I'm pretty sure that's who plays Spider-Man Noir in the Spider-Verse movie. And then the last one is a character who's also in the Spider-Verse movie, and it was this girl who I think was like Peter Parker's daughter in another universe, but her Spider-Man was just like having the giant robot suit. She's in the Spider-Verse movie, and I don't really understand her. And she called herself something stupid. She wasn't called Spider-Man or Spider-Woman or whatever. It was SP//DR. Like, what does that mean? How do you say that? It was some weird, like, alternate techie universe, I guess. I don't know. And like for her, it was like really painful to like use the suit and wear the suit. I don't know. I don't know what this had to do with anything. When I looked up Gwen Stacy comics, this is one that came up, and she did have an issue in here, but I didn't really care for that. And it doesn't fit my theme of like my Spider-Gwen video, because more than half of it was not Spider-Gwen. So I abandoned the idea of trying to like read all the Spider-Verse books, and switch back to Ghost Spider. So I read last night, volume 2 of Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, which is the volumes 5 through 10 or issues 5 through 10 of the physical one that I had earlier in the video. This is Shauna McGuire writing, who is a YA author, and I really like the way she writes Gwen, and especially like the self-talk, like the internal monologue Gwen has for herself feels so real. Like, though, like sometimes she says things I'm like, I would say that in my head. Like, she's still like kind of self-deprecating like any other young teenager, or I think she's 18 or so would be, and I really like it, and it feels very Peter Parker, but she at the same time is very much her own person, her own character. And at the end of this one is when she chooses the name Ghost Spider, because she originally was going by Spider-Woman, I believe, and then somehow her identity was revealed, and then that's where the Spider-Gwen name came from. And also she met this Spider-Woman from the other universe, whose name is escaping me. Jessica, I think. She's got the long brown hair. So now she's chosen the name Ghost Spider. So I'm going to read the next one in this series. I really like that one. So now it's a continuation of the other one. Now it's just called Ghost Spider. This is volume 1. I think it's issues 1 through 5. And this looks like it'll involve Peter Parker and Miles, because she's gone back to being able to go between universes. She took a break from it for a while after the events of Spider-Verse. I don't know all the details of the events of the Spider-Verse. I know from what I've seen in Miles comics, and I have read some of the aftermath for Gwen, but I don't really know what happened in the middle there, because I haven't read those. But I'm kind of liking the emotional development that Gwen Stacy is able to have later in the series. I'm really enjoying reading that. The only part of these comics I don't like is the MJ in this universe is a terrible person. Like, why is she friends with her? she's so mean all the time. Like, why do you want to be in this girl's band? All she does is yell at you. I would quit if I was her. But anyway, she's not that important of a character. And then after this, I will probably read volume 2 of this, and then I will either end the video there, or I might go back. I found a list on Marvel Unlimited of what I think would be more of Gwen Stacy's origin story, because that's what I've been trying to grasp, and maybe there's not an exact like comic where you see her get bit by the spider and see her discover her powers. It might just come kind of established, how Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU kind of just comes into the story and that's all already happened. At this point in the world, Spider-Man is a well-known character. Even if you transfer it to the story of Gwen Stacy, we all kind of know how Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man. But I would like to see some parts of the origin as early as possible. And I did find like the list of comics on Marvel Unlimited, but it's 35 issues, so we'll see if that happens in this video or not, because that's a lot of comics. These bind-ups are usually 5, and then like a complete story so far has been about 10, at least for Gwen Stacy. So to read 35 would be a lot, but I am interested in seeing more of her story. There is a portion that I would like to find, and I don't really know where it happens, or if it's in a Gwen comic, or if it shows up in a different Spider-Man comic, or what. But where I am, in the one I read last night, she now has a suit. She doesn't have the like I got bit by a spider powers anymore. She has a symbiote suit, and I tried looking it up. It's not exactly like a Venom symbiote. It's not, at least I don't think, it's not like an alien. They don't talk to each other like Venom and Eddie Brock do. Eddie? Yeah. Like, it's not the exact same thing, but this suit, from what I understand, was created by Elsa Brock, which is her universe's version of Eddie Brock, who in our in the main timeline is Venom, obviously. And her version, Elsa, created this symbiote, so it's not an alien, she created it, and I just don't really know why or how Gwen Stacy got it, or why. So, but I know she can, like, that's how she changes her appearance, her clothes. That's where she gets her powers now. But now it's starting to cause problems in in the Ghost Spiders, like, part of the series. It's starting to kind of go on the fritz. And so I'm wondering if it's like problems like Venom has, where the symbiote is taking too much power or whatever. I don't really know how any of it works, but that's where I'm at. I am enjoying it. Anyway, that's my update. I will hopefully get some more comic book reading done today, and I will update you later. Hello, an update. I think I'm going to close out this reading vlog, but I thought I would update you on the rest of the comics I read. So I didn't read all 35 issues that are the original Spider-Gwen story. I read issues 1 through 7, which is volume 1. Well, it's volume 1 through 6 is volume 1, and then I read issue 7, which is actually, I realized, part of a different series, and I can't find all of them on Marvel Unlimited, and to buy it on Amazon as like a bind-up is like $45, and I'm not going to do that right now. But volumes 1 through 6, I really liked the story. I in my last update had said how I want to try and read more about the origin of Gwen Stacy and how she became Spider-Gwen, and this touches on it. I don't know if I'm just dumb or I just can't find what the actual origin story of her is, or I'm wondering if it was never put on to paper, if it never really was a published story. But I don't know. I feel like it has to be, at least to an extent, because they have these flashbacks to it. Even if it's not the part where Gwen is bit by the spider and discovers her powers, which I would like to read, but I'm not sure that exists in the comics, like explicitly. But there's a story with this Earth's Peter Parker where he looks up to Spider-Woman so much. She goes by Spider-Woman at that time. And I'm not clear if he knows that it's Gwen or not. I don't think he does. I don't know. I haven't read it. And he starts to develop what is similar to what in the main MC universe, or I guess in our movies that we have, it would be Andrew Garfield's movies, what Dr. Kurt Connors makes with the serum to become the Lizard. Not a great supervillain named the Lizard, but he does that, becomes a Lizard. In a fight with Gwen Stacy's Spider-Woman, he dies. She doesn't kill him, but a fight happens, blah, blah, blah. I don't know the details because they reference it and they show certain panels, like just of Peter Parker dying, but not what happened or like really why he did that. So that's the part I was trying to get to. I want to read that. And I guess I haven't tried Googling like in which comic does Peter Parker die, but I figured it would be in a Gwen Stacy story. Maybe it's not. Maybe it comes up in a different Spider-Man story, but there's not a Spider-Man in this universe, so I don't know. But yeah, I read issues 1 through 6. It's her kind of dealing with still the guilt from that experience with Peter Parker dying, but it's been some time. It's been like a year or maybe even 2, and her father has recently found out that she's Spider-Woman, which that's another thing that I don't know when that happens. I didn't read that happening. And then Harry Osborn comes back to town. He left right after Peter Parker died. And he becomes the Green Goblin. But Gwen reveals her identity, and they kind of make up, but he just sort of disappears. I'm sure he'll be back because in the Ghost Spider comics, much later, they're best friends again. So they even go on one date and then they don't ever really talk about it again. But I like Gwen Stacy as a character. I just feel like maybe it would have been easier. I don't know if she has it like an omnibus yet, where they kind of collect all of her story. I don't think I've seen one. But when they do, maybe it'll be easier to read her story from that perspective, to see it all laid out and the way it was intended to be read. Should I have maybe done more research on which order to read things? Maybe, I don't know. Overall, I really like the character. I love her sense of humor and how she approaches situations. It's very Peter Parker-like, basically. And I really like seeing her interact with the other spider people, especially Miles, the couple times that he's been here. Our main universe, Peter Parker, is probably my favorite. And then the main universe, Jessica Drew, which is Spider-Woman. I love. I might do a Spider-Woman video sometime in the future because she has such a cool arc. I've seen her in a lot of the Avengers comics, in Miles as well. She's a big character in those. But in one of these Spider-Gwen ones, I found out that there's an arc where she is pregnant and has a baby, and the whole she's Spider-Woman. She's doing Spider-Woman things. She still works with the Avengers. She's just also pregnant. And there's a cover that I'll probably try and see if I can buy a copy on eBay or if they have it on Amazon, where it's a pregnant Spider-Woman in her full costume on the cover of the comic, which I just think is the coolest thing ever. So I definitely will be reading more of hers. And in general, I just like Jessica Drew as a character. I would love it if they one day got her in the MCU. I don't know who I'd like to play her. She's not as young as Peter Parker, so it could be kind of more of an established actress, but I don't know. There's so many good people that could probably play her. But Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. We're talking about Gwen here. Overall, I really like Gwen. I will definitely read more of her comics. Like I said, I read volume 1 of the original Gwen Stacy, like Spider-Woman comics. I have 6 more volumes, and I just figured that was too much to put into this vlog. Maybe I'll do a part 2 to Gwen Stacy, or maybe I'll just include hers. As I continue to read them, I might just put them in my regular reading vlogs. My next themed comic book reading vlog, I'm hoping to get out pretty soon, but overall, Gwen Stacy was a lot of fun. I will say these volumes, at least volume 1, and I don't know if it'll have the same artist the whole time, compared, and I don't know who did the art, but compared to who did the art for Ghost Spider, I loved the art in Ghost Spider. The way the characters were drawn in this volume 1 was just not my style. I didn't love it. Like, Gwen looked okay, terrible haircut, but it's whatever. But like the way Harry was drawn looked dumb. Like it didn't even, like, his head was shaped real weird. I don't know. Overall, the art style was really not my vibe, but I'm hoping to read more of them as I get along. I really liked, most of the time I care more about the content of the story than necessarily the art. Sometimes there's really, really beautiful art that I'm just blown away by. But I didn't do really any screenshots for this Gwen Stacy video. I'll be honest, I just wasn't screenshotting anything, so I don't have any screenshots to share. I hope you enjoyed this video. I feel like it was a bit chaotic because I didn't really know in what order to read these Gwen Stacy comics. Maybe for the next one I will choose an omnibus or something, or just keep winging it, because that's kind of what I do. I am hoping, like I said, to put out a new comic video pretty soon. I'm thinking the next character I'm going to try out is Moon Knight, because that is the show currently airing on Disney Plus, and I love it so much. I love Oscar Isaac. He's doing so well. The mythology is so interesting, and I've always loved mythology. I grew up on Percy Jackson and the Kane Chronicles, and so to see this mythology like in a mainstream media thing is really interesting, and I'd love to learn more about it. My knowledge of Egyptian mythology is much less than Greek mythology. Not that my Greek mythology is even that spectacular, but I'm just really, really enjoying this show, so I thought it would be fun to see what the comics are like, and Marvel Unlimited has a whole section right now for Moon Knight, so I thought that would be fun to try and kind of upload around the time of the finale or a bit after, and then I still do want to try a Daredevil video because I love him. I will say, that's one thing I forgot to say, in this volume 1, so in Gwen Stacy's Spider-Woman universe, the Daredevil, well, he's not even Daredevil, he's Matt Murdock, a lawyer, still blind, but he's evil, and I hate it so much. It's so uncomfortable to read. He like worked for Kingpin and then like took over as Kingpin. It's just horrendous. I don't know where Foggy is. I don't know where Karen is. In one of the comics, he like attempted to kill the Punisher, and he wasn't the Punisher in this. He is actually captain of the police squad in New York, but he tried to kill Frank Castle, and I just couldn't take it. It's too much. I know it's an alternate universe. It just felt so wrong though. So definitely weird vibes. But yeah, that is my reading vlog for this new comic book installment. I feel like this was probably a really long video, but most of my comic ones are. I just have so much fun reading these, and I can't wait to read many, many more. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know who your favorite spider person is. I think my favorite is still going to be Miles. I might even choose Miles over Peter. I'm sorry, I love you, Peter Parker, but Miles just has a very special place in my heart. But Gwen is definitely up there as well. So let me know who your favorite is, or what MCU project you're looking forward to, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.